Hi, it's the Reckless Retiree here, and I'm going to update you on my latest efforts. Unfortunately, I was very excited, and I don't know, always seems like you're under a time crunch. So I didn't videotape the smaller steps, but I'll tell you what I have just completed. All right, so this is my system, my vacuum system, and you can see down there is the actual vacuum platform, and in the back, the silver thing in the back with the green ties around it is a compressed air nozzle, like you would use to blow off parts in a machine shop. And then in the center is the vacuum connection, which you've seen before. And right there, underneath that board, is the attachment, or whatever you would call that, to raise the platform. So the platform sits on those wheels, on the tires, while it's running, when I'm doing the actual pickup. But when I'm transporting it from place to place, I want to raise that off the ground so none of it's touching. And so I have that bar attached to the center of the platform, and then I raise it up with using a fulcrum pry bar, or whatever you want to call it, the board. I pry it up, put that block under it, and then it holds it up off the ground. So as you can see, the vacuum cleaner, the shop vac, is in there, and that's connected to the let's say Vortec, but that's not what I mean to say. Cyclone attachment, which then separates out the fine material and puts it into a container underneath it. Okay, and then inside the back of the truck, I have my generator, gas generator. It's 4,400 watt generator, and I have the air compressor. So the air compressor is electric, obviously, and the vacuum is electric, and they're both run on the generator. Now, what I found when I just made a run in the industrial park on a road that gets doesn't have much traffic, and what I found was I couldn't keep the air pressure up high enough during the run, most of the run. And then at the end, the air compressor stopped working, I think. And I'm guessing, I haven't investigated it, but I'm guessing it's because the generator was blowing out hot air onto the compressor, and the compressor got too hot, and then it stopped working because of that. I'm hoping because it has a thermal relay that prevents that from happening when it gets too hot. Anyway, so right now I'm using the same bucket in my Blue Bowl separator as I'm using as my vacuum Cyclone dust collector. So I took the dust out of it, filtered it with my filters here, and maybe about 3 of them really did anything. The rest, it was too fine with the larger size. And then I separated the dirt into, it should say 30, 50, and 100. I put 20 down there, but it should be, or maybe this should be 30 and this should be 50. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because what I'm primarily interested in is the 100. So I went ahead and I separated those into Ziploc bags, and then I took the 100 and separated out the ferrous material with the magnet. That's in this bag, and then what was left over is now in this glass, and I have that in there with water and jet dry. So I'm letting that soak. I'm going to mix it around, let it soak. Then I've got to get my Blue Bowl up and running, It's obviously at least halfway there, but I've got to level it. That's the next step, is to level the blue bowl so it's perfectly level. Then once I do that, I can crank up, and I also I'm in the process of charging up my battery, which runs the pump on the blue bowl. And a future improvement would be a 110, 120 volt AC pump, so I don't have to have a battery and all that. But the thing about the battery is it's good if you're in the field, and you have your power source in that way. So I'll have both, I guess, if I get a 110 volt pump. But right now, this is what I have. So the deal is to take that material, put it through the blue bowl, separate out the heaviest material, which you would hope would be mostly platinum, but I don't know. That's another part I haven't yet got the hang of is I think what I'm going to have to do is take the material I separate out, take it to a place that does analysis so they can tell me what exactly is in that material. If there's platinum in there and what percentage of it is platinum. Because there's no way for me otherwise, well, I can do fire and chemical assay as outlined on YouTube and other sources and potentially get it to what I think would be platinum. But what might work a lot better is to have somebody who does this professionally to analyze my material and tell me if I have platinum. Now, really, at this point, what I've done so far, might be helpful if I adjust that so you can see me, if you want to see me, that is. So anyway, what I've done so far in the industrial park, I'm not expecting there to be a ton of platinum because it doesn't get a lot of traffic. Thing about the industrial park roads is they've been there for 20 plus years. Never, as far as I know, have never been repaved or coated the road. So in other words, all the dirt that's ever fallen on that road should still be on that unless it was washed off by rainwater. So I don't expect a large amount of platinum to be there. My next step, if I can screw up my courage, because I'm a little nervous to do it, because I've asked a couple of times in different ways for permission and nobody will give it to me. So if I can screw up my courage to just go in the middle of the night and run my system on one of the major highways in this area. That's where I'd expect to find a decent amount of platinum. Of course, I want to perfect my system before I get there. So what I'm trying to say is this whole point in today was to make sure my system was operating and picking up the dust, and it did. Not as much as I would have hoped, but I think part of the problem there is the air compressor not maintaining the highest PSI spraying through the blow-off nozzle. It kept going down, down, down. The air compressor would kick on and try to keep up. It was unable. I think I have to spring for a better air compressor, one that like an industrial one that will keep the air pressure up, even though you have a jet of air continually going. It's going to be able to keep up with it. And maybe, hopefully I can get that used somewhere, I don't know. But that's an improvement. I may go ahead and go with what I have to the highway just to see if I get platinum. Because, you know, all of this is, it's not a waste of time because I'm retired and I'm having fun doing it. But in regard to making some money, it's a waste of time if I don't get any platinum. So I have to determine, it's a high priority, determining that I can get some platinum off the highway. That's a number one priority. And I can probably, to some degree, pull that off with what I have now, with maybe some minor adjustments. So that's where I'm at. My idea for the dust pickup, non-contact dust pickup system that I designed and built works. That's the number one thing lately. That's been my major accomplishment lately. Because I want to be able to drive down the road, and if I have something in contact with the surface, it's going to get beat up, it's going to get worn out. But if I can pick up the dust off the surface, and just the finest dust would be ideal, and leave the big stuff behind, without contacting the road, which I have done. I just proved it works. I proved it in my driveway, now I proved it on a road. And I think with a better air compressor system, when I have a constant 100 psi coming through that nozzle, I'm going to do a lot better. So that's the step. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, level out the Blue Bowl, get it running, run my material through the Blue Bowl, and then potentially take that material to some place to have it analyzed. So that's where I'm at. I'll catch you up in a little bit.